So I just wanted to thank you all for joining us today for our series that we're calling Tuesdays at 2 with Haven. You know, the events of the past month have really been unsettling for us all. Not only in how quickly everything's changed, but how long 30 days really feels. I don't know about you, but it feels like to me it's been months since I've shuttled kids around to their activities or even just gone out for dinner. So while I'm taking advantage of this downtime and enjoying it, it's really under unfortunate circumstances. But at Haven, we just felt like it was so important to stay connected and maybe more importantly, staying positive and looking forward and frankly, being ready and prepared so that once this crisis is better managed, we'll come out of it ready to hit the ground running. And so we just wanted to create a community of people who feel the same. So if you're not familiar with the company, I think most everybody is, but Haven, we're an 11-year-old company, which for a young industry, we've got some experience behind us. We've got our team of 10. Our warehouse is in Chicago. It's over 11,000 square feet, and it has enough inventory to stage approximately 100 houses at a time. And right now it's very full. We'd love to get furniture out. We consider ourselves full service because we offer everything from just consulting with clients and working with their own pieces and what they have to partial and occupied staging. We get a lot of questions people don't realize. We do partial staging, or more importantly, occupied staging to vacant. Right now, I'm not sure if everybody's aware, but our current policy, given the COVID crisis, is that we're not installing any projects until the stay-at-home is lifted. But that doesn't mean that we aren't busy. In fact, some days I feel like I'm working harder now than I ever have. We're getting to do some things that we aren't able to do in a normal day. We're updating social media. We're jumping on virtual opportunities to stay educated with upcoming trends and design. We're expanding our technology. Probably in the technology realm, probably the most exciting task that hopefully you'll look forward to is, and we certainly are, is our new website. It was something we had on our plate for this year. And I think, instead of it taking 5 months, it'll take 1. So we're very excited, and it's looking really great. It's also giving us the opportunity to have a blog, which we always had good intentions of having a blog before, but we've had our teammates working on developing a ton of content and ideas, some of which you'll probably see on our Instagram page over the next couple of weeks, because we just want to get it out there. The blog kind of was a natural progression that we needed to add a Pinterest page. We'd never had a Pinterest page before. So that's something new that you can go look at and even, point clients to so that they can see our finished projects. So while this time is unfortunate, we're really grateful. We wouldn't have gotten all this accomplished without it. I just want to ask a question, because I'd love to get some fresh ideas. Does anybody have anything that they're doing to improve either themselves professionally or personally that they'd like to share? I'd love to get some new ideas. I, for example, personally have started working out again. I kind of joke that it's taken a virus that kills millions of people to get me back working out, but it actually has. So anybody else like to share anything?
I've been working out more, walking more, doing virtual workouts, but I've also somehow or another been really busy work-wise, trying to come up with ways to do things and sell things um, that are unknown and different. For example, homes that I was going to stage, as you know, I can't stage right now. So I'm trying to think of creative ways to work with them. I'm doing some digital staging, which does not look nearly as good as your staging. And I'm reaching out to all my clients just to check with them, see how they're doing, not try to sell them anything. And sending different clients different things, but I'm just trying to remain really client focused and make sure that they know that I'm thinking of them, even the ones I haven't spoken to in a long time.
Yeah, it is really a good time to connect. We're connecting with realtors that we don't typically have a lot of time just to pick up the phone and call and say, hey, how are things going? Like, we're always so rush. So it's great that there is that time to connect and reach out.
I do have to say, and I feel terrible, one of you called me to see how I was doing and to touch base, and I don't remember who it was, and I didn't call back. So shame on me, but thank you for that call. It was very nice, and I apologize to whomever I did not call back.
No, I'm sure we were, yes, absolutely reaching out to clients, just seeing how things were going. We also, it's good for us to hear from your side, what's going on and what you're thinking and what you're hearing from your buyers and sellers. So we actually, in doing that exercise, got some good information. It sounds like, it really sounds like people are staying positive and looking at this as kind of a blip on the screen. And once it's lifted, let's get moving.
Yeah, I think it'll be really busy once it's lifted. I think everybody's at home looking online at what's available, and I think the minute it gets lifted, people are going to come running and know what they're looking for. So I think it's of utmost importance that we as realtors put whatever we have in our pocket, put it on the market now.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think, I don't know about you, but I felt like 2020, spring was really going to be, where we needed to have a big push because of the election year. So, I really do hope that summer months, which are typically a little slower, are busier this year, and fall stays strong.
I think there will be.
Yeah. Anybody else want to share any ideas? Something new?
Yeah, I'll jump in and just say I agree with Amy. I've been actually really busy and I'm happy about that, but it seems like I still can't keep everything straight, because if I'm not doing a video call with someone and I'm not doing some sort of marketing from home, then I'm answering emails and fielding questions, and I'm still doing showings as well. So I feel like I'm really busy and I'm happy about that. So I'm trying my best to do as many educational things as I can for clients, simply because everybody else is sitting at home and asking questions and wants to know about the health of the market. So I find myself doing I've done a couple panels where I'm on with a lender and an attorney. And I think some of you guys were on mine that I did last week, just being a resource to people and answering questions, so that when this is lifted and people are back out there, they feel like they know what's going on with the market and the health of it, so that they can make a decision at that time. And I'm just really trying to stay in front of my clients, whether it be video, whether it be calls. I know people don't want to have a lot of in person right now. Obviously, some people are going to someone's house and standing 6 feet away, and I think that's really sweet. But what I did was I actually just took my top 50 clients and sent a little candle to them and said, hope this brings some, light to you at this time. So just something simple as that, that keeps you in front of them, It's in a box. I didn't touch it. It was delivered. You know, it's just easy peasy where it just gets delivered to their house. It shows them that I'm thinking about them. And it was just a couple dollars that I was able to put toward a lot of people that hopefully will think of me when this is all over. So that's kind of the focus I've been having, is just using this time to try to catch up on everything, but also to stay in front of clients and thinking of things that are outside the box that we can do. And I had mentioned to Charlotte, one of my ideas that I think that is a good idea for everybody, just to do something different for your clients, that they can still see you virtually, still get information from you during this time.
Yeah, that was really a clever idea. I like that. I know, I'm sure people appreciated getting that and being thought of. So that was really clever. And yeah, I do. I know everybody was talking about your Zoom and how well it went. And just, you know, for anybody on this Zoom with us, you know, please feel free to use us as a resource. We are jumping on different Zooms. So if you want to present something to your clients or your following, you know, please feel free, and we'll put something together and jump on and gladly talk about staging. So, or design. We can certainly, we've got a lot of ideas, so just reach out and we can talk it through. So just know that's an option. All right, well, I'm gonna jump back in. You know, so we plan a series of meetings. This first one really is kind of a jumping off point to not only introduce you to Haven, but more importantly, to show you why you should stage. You know, I think like the design business, those in real estate can typically walk into a home and see its potential and see around like the personal items and the photos and see the real bones of the property. But most people can't. It's a well-known stat out there that only 10% of buyers can actually see the potential of a home, especially in situations sometimes where you have couples who are buying together. You know, you've got that one person who can see the potential and the other can't. So, you know, taking the steps, preparing your home, it really helps all parties involved, and it attracts the widest variety of buyers. And I do think these days buyers want to see move-in ready houses. They don't want a list of projects to do after buying this house or condo. So it really is our job to maximize the potential maximize the potential of the property. There's so many times where we've had home buyers like our staging so much that they're sad to sell, or they say, gosh, I wish I would have done this so much sooner. So whether it's staging, those same principles fall in line with design. So wanted to move on. You know, like I said, we are a full service company. I feel like we have the ability really to stage almost any situation that you have. So I just wanted to kind of give you an overview. I don't want to dig in real deep, but just give you an overview and show you some examples and kind of talk through that. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is our owner-occupied consultations. I always like to start presentations by talking about this service because I don't think a lot of people realize that we provide it. Generally, we are meeting with the clients in their home. We meet with them for a few hours, and we walk through the property and talk about ways to get it sales ready, whether it's decluttering, whether it's maybe paint suggestions or cosmetic suggestions, furniture layout. It really is individualized to the client. It's their time, and they can talk about anything that they want to talk about. So before the stay-at-home order, we were handling these in home, but we realized as things were developing that we were really going to have to still service clients in this regard but do it safely with social distancing. So we've spent, I think the first week we went under stay at home, we developed this a process to do it as a video consultation. And it really does, it might actually even work better, but it provides the exact same service. And just a little bit about it. Basically, you know, we get a client who is looking for us to work on with their pieces and in their home. We'll assign them a team member who will reach out to them, give them a welcome letter, and provide them a Dropbox file. This is their own personal digital file that they will have to be able to collect all their photos in, and also it provides directions. We've given them all sorts of information on how to properly take pictures, how to work with Dropbox. So it's all in one place. Once they take photos of their property, we'll set up a video consult. And at that time, the teammate who is working with them will put together a list of recommendations. They'll send those over to the client prior to the video consult. So they do have a little time to go through that list and come up with any questions. And then they will have a video consult with one of our teammates. And that can last anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes, just depending on the size of the property. We're very excited about this product. We're really pushing it. You know, we recognize that there's so many people in limbo right now, but this, and they're sitting at home and have the time. So we're hoping that this service will give them the confidence and the focus with this list to hopefully get their house ready, you know, so that once that stay at home is lifted, they're ready to put it on the market. And I do think that we've seen a lot of, you know, a lot of real estate professionals turning to a virtual buying experience. So we feel like this is a product that really goes hand in hand with that and fits together nicely. So I think that we've got up an example here of, oops, I can't enlarge it for some reason. Sorry, guys. There we go. So we wanted to make this virtual or visual for you so that you can really see the difference that some of these services make. Oops, oh shoot. Okay, sorry guys, hold on. Okay, sorry, I don't know what happened. So this is a property, and this was purely based on a consultation. So we're working with the client's pieces and furniture, but you can kind of see in this one, you know, especially in this living dining room combination, they had those really heavy dark drapes that we were recommended that they remove. That really, we were looking at this photo before and we were trying to decide if we couldn't remember if they painted this space or not. And I don't think it did. I think you can just kind of see, you know, how taking those those curtains away makes a huge difference. Yeah. We also, you know, it's a little hard to see in the befores, but you can, but we switched out the rug to something a little more current and trendy. We recommended, you know, they take out the kind of that uplight that also dates the property. Mm-hmm. We moved, it's kind of hard to see in the after, but we did move the dining table. And in doing that, it opened up the space where we could pivot that side table and open up the space. So some of these, you know, little things that you might not think make a big difference really can. You know, even the example below that of the bedroom, again, taking down the curtains, repositioning that bed, and taking away the larger dresser really made a difference in that space as well. So I don't want to share too much and steal Julie's thunder. Julie's going to be holding the next Tuesday at 2, and she's going to be focusing more on these video consultations and how much you'll get out of them. I can just tell you that the clients really do get a ton of advice, and it is a way, it's a very economical way that you could really get any home staged and with a polished look. So beyond consulting, as I mentioned, we do handle owner-occupied properties and partial stagings. You know, owner-occupied is basically where they're living in the home, but they need to supplement what they currently have. Partial is a little different. It's basically where, you know, sellers have moved out, but have decided to leave behind pieces. So we're just, again, bringing in and finishing off. Now, admittedly, we have to see how this crisis goes and how quickly we get back to owner-occupied staging. There is a lot of hurdles and a lot of things to consider, and I don't think we have all the answers right now. So my guess is in the short term, we might not be doing as many owner-occupieds as we have been doing, but I firmly believe we'll get back there. So this is a good example, and this is actually one that we just did this one. This is a case where the clients had, the pieces that they had were fine. They just didn't have a lot of it. I think we all have those clients who have moved in their property and then just never finished off spaces. So their living room, you know, we worked with their sofa, but really finished it off, bringing in, you know, coffee tables, chairs, a rug, artwork. Same with their office below. I think their office is maybe passable, but what a difference it makes with the art and lighting and a rug and and chairs. Yeah, I didn't realize there weren't chairs there for a second. So you can just really see, you know, what a big difference that makes. So our vacant staging, you know, this is probably the most recognized of our services and the most requested. This is where the property is totally empty. Either it's new construction or the sellers moved out. But we'll bring in really everything, anything from sofas all the way to accessories. Our goal really is to provide a well-finished space that draws buyers in, whether it's online or in person. We want to help a buyer envision themselves living in that home. And, you know, I would just recommend when you are looking for a stager that you find companies that really, if you only look at these three things, you're jumping way ahead of the curve. One would be, you know, make sure that anybody you're working with is taking into account the finishes of a property, whether it's the floor stain, wall colors, hardware, tiles. Make sure that they're bringing in pieces that match up with what is going on in the house. Make sure they're bringing in the proper scaled furnishings. So oftentimes I've been in appointments where, you know, another stager comes in and is just quickly taking photos and walks out within 5 minutes. You know, you want to make sure, and I'll show you an example here shortly, you want to make sure things are scaled properly because it can make all the difference in the world. Also, check out their inventory. Make sure it's current trending. You certainly don't want anything tired or outdated to bring down that property. You only want the inventory to bring up the level of the property. And in fact, there's plenty of instances where we've worked with homes that had dated finishes, but in bringing in current trending furniture, it really brought the level of that property up. At Haven, we really do focus our attention on inventory. And Phil, it's one of the reasons that our repeat customers choose us. And I could spend an entire session on inventory, but I won't today. Our session 3 in 2 weeks is going to be held with Brad Pierce, who's our creative director and who sources our inventory. So he'll, at that time, be giving you a peek inside our warehouse if you've never had the opportunity to come in. And he'll be also talking about trends. So the example, oops, can you go back? There we go. So this is an example of vacant staging, but the left side is just showing you how it was staged before we were brought in. And if you take a close look at this first one in this dining room, you know, this was a single family and they put a 4-top table in the dining space. If you take a look at our, what we ended up doing, we fit an 8-person table in there. There were a lot of kind of blank spaces. It felt a little unfinished. So, you know, we added proper size art, a console, you know, a mirror on that far wall. And we also addressed, I know you've been in these homes where they've got that empty space under the stairs, and we always try to show function in dead spaces. So in this particular instance, I think it's hard to tell, but we made that into kind of a desk area. We've also oftentimes staged a bar cart in there, but showing function to spaces that don't make sense is really one of the fun parts of our job. Below that shows the family room, and at the time, you know, they did just enough to stage a space. But if you look to the right, with all the bookshelves and the side tables and the finishing touches, to me, that's just the picture that's going to draw people into a single family home and help people envision themselves there. So I don't know if you guys have seen this list on why to stage before. In the interest of time, I'm going to kind of breeze through it, but I just wanted to make sure that you saw this graphic. You know, whether you're staging to sell for more money, whether to sell the property quicker or to make a strong first impression, there are plenty of stats to back it up. But I am going to jump ahead and show you how these sorts of stats really line up with what we've done in our projects. So this first one is a project on Ridgeway. We've actually done, these are, I think, row homes or townhomes, and we've actually done a couple of these and have had really good success there. Yeah, this particular property is a 3-bedroom row house, and we just, this is actually one we just did in February. This particular property was listed vacant for 3 months with a previous realtor. In the end, the client switched realtors, and they that particular realtor brought us in. In the end, after we staged, it was contingent within a week with 2 offers in February of this year. This particular property, oh, this was a single family up in Lakewood, Balmoral. It wasn't listed prior, but it was listed. The great story, the success story on this one is it was listed for $1.5 million. It sold over asking price with multiple offers and was contingent in 11 days after staging. This project on Paulina, this one, this one we actually just pulled a couple of weeks ago, and it has a great story. I think Brad started working with this client maybe in July of last year, started talking to them and quoting out the project. The condo itself was on and off the market for 9 months with the seller's furnishings. After we staged it, it sold for asking price in a week. This particular property, you know, I think this one went through several different phases. I believe the first one, those first few are showing the seller's furniture. In the end, it was actually listed for 5.5 months, initially with the owner's finishes. Then it was listed vacant for a while without staging. I don't know if they got a new realtor at that time, but in the end, they ended up painting and staging, and it was contingent in 2 days with 2 offers for full asking price. And then this one might get the award for biggest change, especially that dining room. It's like it's not even the same house. But this is a 1870s single family property. And you can kind of see how the finishes and the paint in particular really dated this property. But with new paint and staging, it sold in a month. So a very quick sale for a single family property. So I've talked a lot. Does anybody at this point have any questions that they would like to ask? Or anything I haven't really covered?
Do you guys have a price list that shows these different offerings that you can share with clients?
So as far as vacant goes?
So yeah, I mean, specifically for this time, I mean, obviously if we weren't doing the shelter at home, I would just call you and have you quote it out like normal. But if we, and this might be something that I chat with you guys about offline later, but if we did have a person who was currently sheltering in place at their house and they wanted to do just the staging with their own stuff, do you have a hourly rate? What is the process that if the client is asking what their numbers look like?
Yeah, I mean, if they're working with their own stuff and they are just looking for our advice on furniture layout, maybe, you know, things that they, if there's some minor purchases they could make, like some lighting and rugs or maybe a piece of art, that would fall under our video consultations. And so it's all based on the size of the property, but those video consults are anywhere from $249 to $349 to $349 right now, just depending. So anything like a condo up to 1,800 square feet is $249, and what they'll get is that they put all their photos. We'll help them, walk them through taking photos, put those in Dropbox. We'll give them a written report, and then we'll also walk through a video consult with them after they've reviewed that report. So that's up to 1,800 square feet. 1,800 to 3,000 square feet, just because it's all based on how much time, bigger houses just take more time. So those are $299, and then anything over 3,000 square feet is $349. And we've discounted that right now during the crisis. Does anybody else have any questions?
Is that that occupied staging sheet available to us to send to clients?
Yeah, and you know what? We can give you guys anything that you would like for marketing pieces that we have. You're more than welcome. I don't know if what's showing up on the screen will do it. Or, we could do something with a little more detailed pricing for you.
Mm-hmm. That would be helpful.
Yeah, and I just wanted to, let you know that if we can also, if you'd like this presentation, this PowerPoint, we can send this to you as well if you would find it helpful in showing your clients the value of staging.
Somebody asked this on the chat here, Sherry.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to clarify what types of staging we are doing right now. So you touched on that, but maybe just clarify what we are doing, what we are not doing. And then they asked for spaces that need painting. Does Haven coordinate that work, or do we have vendors that we recommend, or who do we give that work to?
Sure. So, as far as painting goes, I mean, we can certainly recommend paint colors. We do not coordinate, we don't project manage that. So we do have a couple painters that we've used in the past that we will refer, and pretty much would prefer that the client just coordinate that with them. But we always will offer paint suggestions. What was the other question?
Just clarifying, we're not doing
what we're doing
installs right now.
Yeah, so it's really, I know that real estate is considered essential services. It's really gray as to whether staging is an essential service. Our national associations that we are members of are not recommending, they're asking us to just follow the shelter in place, and they're not considering us as essential business. Every state's different. It's a really gray area. And for me as an owner, it's just easier, not easier. It makes me feel better not to have my team out and instead staying in social distancing. So right now we are not installing any projects. We're handling video consultations, and we're actually only even removing staging if it's an upcoming closing. We're letting furniture sit if we have to, just until the shelter in place is lifted. Any other questions? If not, we just wanted to do something kind of fun. I mean, certainly, I think we all kind of reached out and asked you if you had any spaces you need help with right now. And you can continue after this if you come across something that you're struggling with, maybe even in your own house. If you have questions, we're here to help you. But what we thought would be fun was to look at some spaces that were really awkward. We don't live how we stage. So we walk into properties and see all sorts of things. So we just wanted to show you some examples of what a difference staging made. So in this particular instance, this was one I actually got to see in person. The clients had small children. This was their art table, dining table, and they were living in the property at the time, but we suggested to them that we turn this back into a proper family room space, and you can kind of see on the right the results. And that was it's hard to see. That room looks big. It was a really tight space. So the staging actually makes it look much bigger than it really is. This particular situation, you know, one, I love the navy, but it's a really bold color. You're gonna either, someone's either gonna love it or hate it. So let's just neutralize it and make it acceptable for any buyer. So they did tone down that pink color. They were using it as a dining room, and we turned it back into a living space. So on the left, this was actually in a high-rise property, which, you know, in those high rises, you want to show bedroom spaces. And this person was using it as an office. And you can see how in the right side, we still showed it with office space, but turned it back into a bedroom. When we were looking at these photos before, somebody was like, this was a project in the city, because we only stage in the city, but that blue carpet and everything else, it was bad. So they switched out the carpet, which was great. It's easier to see in this in the right side how there's really no bedroom wall, or bed wall, sorry, bed wall. And so while it's not necessarily the most ideal to put a bed in front of the windows, it really was the only option. And it really helped spell this master bedroom out to buyers. And this one, again, just, you know, very dark paint, got them to lighten that up. They had a lot of, you can tell they're a reader. So we got them to, you know, pull out those personal items, and we finished it off nicely with new accessories and artwork, brighter artwork, just neutralize the whole space. You can even see their curtains there a lot darker too. So just really brighten this room up all the way around. It doesn't even look like the same room to me. Other than the shelves, I don't know that you would have guessed. So I think if there aren't any more questions, or if anybody has any thoughts, anything they want to bring up. Well, if not, I want to thank everybody for jumping in on Tuesdays at 2 with us. If you would like to learn more, especially about that video consult, Julie will be discussing that next week. She'll go into a lot more detail, and again, you'll see how incredibly much a client can get out of this. And then the following Tuesday, Brad we'll be discussing inventory and design trends. So hopefully you'll sign up for those. And until then, everybody, please stay safe, and we hope to see you next Tuesday.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.